Have you ever read the acknowledgments page in a book? How did it make you feel? Well, I think the answer to that depends on whether or not you were in the acknowledgments. Hi, I'm Dell with Speak Through Me Publishing. When we write the acknowledgments, it's important that we use the right voice. And what do I mean by that, or the right person rather? And that is, should we write it in the first person, the second person, third person? How do we do the acknowledgments? Now you might be thinking, come on, it's not rocket science. It's not that big of a deal. Well, it is. Now, it's probably not a deal breaker for your book, by no means, but it does kind of make a difference. Now, first of all, you're not going to write in the first person. You're not going to be sitting there, well, I, and I. No, that's definitely not what you're going to be doing, because that would definitely be a deal breaker. And if that's all you're going to do, you really don't need to put the acknowledgments in there. Let's not even bother with that. So the only real options would be using the second person or the third person. So the second person means that you're talking to the person that is in that book. And that, let's say that Mary and Billy Bob were the two main people. You had other people, but those were really the two main people that helped you the most in the book. Okay, so you talked a lot about Mary and Billy Bob and some other people, but let's just focus on Mary and Billy Bob. So you're going to be talking to Mary and Billy Bob, thanking them for all that they did to help you with this book. Well, that's one option. That's just the putting it in the second person. The other option would be to put it in the third person, where you're talking about Mary and Billy Bob, telling everyone, this is what Mary did, this is what Billy Bob did, and this is what, so and so and so and so and so and so, and this is what all these people did. So which one is better? Depends whether or not you're Mary and Billy Bob or somebody else. All depends. I would recommend, and most of the style manuals will encourage you to put it in the third person. And here's why. If you have it in the second person, where you're actually talking to Mary and Billy Bob, it makes the other readers feel as though there's something going on in which they are not included. They're feeling as though they're kind of left out of something. And goodness knows, if you start going into these little inside jokes about something that Mary did or Billy Bob did or said or an experience that you had, well, now the reader is really left out, because now they're thinking, wait a minute, what are they talking about? Now, Mary and Billy Bob are just rolling on the floor because they're thinking like, oh, that was so funny. I remember when we did that. Oh, that was so fun. Da, 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 da. Mary and Billy Bob are having a grand old time reading this thing. They'll probably go back and read it again because they had so much fun just remembering all the good old days and all of this wonderful stuff. But all the other readers are clueless as to what you are talking about. They feel as though there was some secret party or something or another going on, and they got completely left out. Like, so why wasn't I invited to the party? Why don't you like me? Instead of making the reader feel as though they're on the outside looking in and not being invited in, how about if you put it in the third person, where you're talking about Mary and Billy Bob, and leave out all the inside jokes. Keep the inside jokes inside, like just between you, Mary, and Billy Bob, because the rest of the world doesn't know what you're talking about anyway, so don't bore them with it. Use the third person. So that way the reader doesn't feel like they're being left out. They're getting the information about what Mary and Billy Bob did and whoever else. They're getting the information about what they did and how they helped you and they ministered to you and da-da-da-da-da-da, all this great stuff that they did, but they're not feeling excluded. Mary and Billy Bob are still happy because they're seeing their name in print and they're realizing like, oh, look at that. She really appreciated what I did. Da-da-da-da-da. So everybody's happy when you put it in the third person. Now, has a crime been committed if you put it in the second person? Well, no, but it's just better in the third. Now, mind you, I have to admit, I am guilty. I have put it in the second person a number of times, and sometimes it's third. I kind of go back and forth on that. But going forward, I'm going to put forth every effort to make sure that it's in the third person, because when you know better, you do better. So now that you know better, put your acknowledgments in the third person and talk about the person, not to the person, so that you're not excluding the reader. Now, if you like that piece of information, there's a whole lot more at the Memphis Christian Writers Conference. Rakesha Gray and I are proud to be the host of this year's conference, which is the Memphis Christian Writers Conference. It's going to be Saturday, September 12th. We're going to start bright and early at 8:30 a.m. We will be virtual, so if you are not an early riser and you need to be in your PJs, it's perfectly fine. Just turn off the camera. I'm just saying. We don't need to know all of that. But we really want to have you there. Now, this is a niche conference, and what I mean by that, it has a very narrow focus. This conference is for writers who are adults who want to self-publish an uplifting, faith-based nonfiction book. And yes, that is a mouthful. But yes, it has that narrow focus to it. The other component that we have in the conference is going to be for speakers. We will be ministering to speakers as well. And Tanisha Holiday, Minister Tanisha Holiday, is going to be talking to the ministry leaders. So we're very excited about that. But that's not the only thing that we have going on. There is more. We are going to be including the Head-to-Hand Writers Workshop. Now, if you've ever been to the workshop, you know it is like information on steroids. So if you have a book in your head, but you're stumped as to how to get it in your hand, well, we can solve that problem, because we love turning writers into authors. And at the Head-to-Hand Writers Workshop, when you come in there, if you have that book in your head, but you need to come in with something in your head, you don't need to have the book written. Actually, the less you have written, the better. So you don't need to have it written down. You just need to have it in your head. And if you have that much information in your head, then when you leave, you're going to have that book in your hand. Yes, yes, and more yes. You'll have your book in your hand completely mapped out. Everything is where it needs to be. And the only thing you need to do is just put a little bit of meat on those bones, and your book will be ready. Yes, it is just that simple. We can help you to do that. But we're not going to just have you come to the conference and then you leave and we say, hey, bye, it's been real. No, we're going to continue to help you. So we're going to offer you 5 weeks of follow-up coaching. No, there is no additional charge for that. It is included in the conference fee. 5 weeks. Yes, 5 weeks of additional follow-up coaching with some focused writing. So we're going to be helping you to do that. I will be right there in each session answering any questions, comments, concerns that you might have, and helping to just walk you through that writing process, because we want you to be able to get your book finished. We don't want you to just come and have a good time and then you leave and you go back to life as usual. No, we want you to have that book finished. Now, yes, we do want you to have a good time, and we know that you will, but we want you to keep that good time in your mind. We want you to be able to continue to work on that book, because God gave you that book. He gave you that idea to put that message out there. Well, He didn't just do it because He was bored. He gave it to you because He wants you to write it, and we want to help you get that book done. Come on out to the Memphis Christian Writers Conference. It's going to be Saturday, September 12th, 8:30 a.m. And yes, 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 we are going to be virtual. So hop over to the website, get all the details and the registration information. And that's memphiscwc.com, memphiscwc.com. So I do encourage you to go to the website as soon as possible, particularly if you are outside of Memphis, because since it's virtual, then anybody in the country will be, you can come. I mean, obviously that'll be easy enough for you to do. But if you are outside of Memphis, that registration is going to be closing very soon, simply because all of the materials, we're going to have to ship it to you. So I would encourage you, as soon as possible, go to the website, get the information, go ahead and do the registration, and that's memphiscwc.com, memphiscwc.com. And we'll see you there. Bye-bye.